Hey, okay, so long story short, I decided to join very last minute the LA Juvenile Diabetes Research Fund Walk for a Cure, which is last minute because it's actually at the end of this month. It's October 27th, and right now it's October 4th, I think. So coming up, but I'm supposed to fundraise, I guess, a little bit if I can, even though it's really last minute. And one of the things they recommend you to do, I guess, is to tell your story through a video. And I've been meaning to do this anyway because I've been meaning to write about it. So I did write about it. And it was originally supposed to be kind of like a monologue, but I realized there were too many rhymey words in it to be like a monologue. So I guess I'll just call it a rhymey thing because I don't know if I want to call it a poem because I don't consider myself a poet. But here it is. And I was diagnosed on April 17th. My phone is doing things. That's my mom. I was diagnosed on April 17th, 2013, which was less than 6 months ago. So background information, I don't really explain that in this. So, all right. And here's my story of being diagnosed, and it doesn't have a title or anything. So here goes. Since I was 10, I've been a hypochondriac, and all because I read the symptoms of a heart attack on a magnet on the side of a refrigerator. And ever since, I've been a maniac, constantly concerned about cardiac arrest, and I could feel it in my chest. And the symptoms wouldn't rest, like I was always being pressed, even when I knew it was just my distress, because I passed every medical test, as you probably guessed. But I couldn't stop the stress. I guess I was obsessed, and the anxiety just progressed. The panic couldn't be repressed, but I never really expressed my fears. I mostly suffered in silence, because I didn't want to be crazy. But suddenly I became happy again, and my life had become zen. And that was precisely when my world underwent a collision. And it wasn't my decision. It started with the blurry vision and was confirmed by an incision on the tip of my left middle finger, the first of many. I remember how it left a bruise. And I didn't even need to hear the news, because deep down I already knew. I'd seen the symptoms on WebMD. It was true. And it was not type 2. It was type 1, the type people usually get at age 2. And so I made my hospital debut. With a blood sugar of 560, it was an insulin drip to the rescue. Honestly, my thoughts were a puzzle that entire day and night. But I remember having an overwhelming feeling of hope. And I said to myself, Aubrey, you're going to be all right. And with my anxious mind, that was one of the only times I had thought that and actually believed it. Because this wasn't just a normal fright. This was something I knew I had to fight. And it's not like I wasn't afraid. For that 24 hours, my family and friends helped me to be brave. My little brother stayed the night at the hospital with me, even though he had school the next morning. I wish I could express how much that meant when sleep that night I spent dreaming of how the last 18 years went and woke up in a disorient with an IV in my arm. My normal life was bent, but I saw my brother asleep, and I felt less alone. The hardest part was when I had come home. The hypochondriac in me had to research and read, and all of the dangers and complications combined, twined, and wind their way into my mind. And I went to my parents' doorway and said, Mom, I don't want to go blind. And I cried. The first time those tears left my eyes. And I don't want to lose my foot. And I don't want to have a heart attack, and I don't want to die. I sat with my mom until I was pacified, and I let the tears dry. And I started to modify my life. I almost let it change my dreams. I saw my goals of acting and getting away for college ripped at the seams. But at the end, I knew I couldn't let it stop me. That I would be guilty if I didn't let myself free, if I didn't let myself be. And so, with all of my fears and doubts withdrawn, I came 1,595 miles away from home to a college with the motto, "Fight on." The exact phrase my life needed. And there are still good days. Most days I feel pretty close to normal. But it's still a daily challenge, a daily struggle, a daily pain. And there are some days when my motivation starts to wane and I feel drained, like I'm trying in vain and I'm going insane from the finger-pricking blood stains and the high blood sugar eye strains and the low blood sugar migraines and the frustration tear stains and the nights when I'm too afraid to go to sleep because I'm afraid I won't wake up. And I know I sound dramatic, but seriously, this disease is problematic. I've got 99 problems and they're all pancreatic. It's traumatic and I've had it. I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining that for a solution to all this, we're campaigning. No matter how many years are remaining, we're still praying, because even at the end of our rope, we still cope, because there's always hope. And at the end of the day, this disease has made us stronger. This juvenile disease has actually made us more mature, because we're able to endure. And though we know life is imperfect and impure, we wait for a time when we will feel less afraid and more secure. And that is why, just to be sure, you should help us fundraise for a cure. Type 1 to type none.